Greetings and welcome to the energy and the auspices of Pisces. This is Ron from Tarot of the Twin Sun. Tarot of the Twin Sun is a functional division within the Order of the Twin Sun. Please take only what you will. This is a reading for the 12th house as well, the auspices of Neptune and the Moon. But primarily we will look firstly into Neptune, which is in retrograde in the first house on July 1st, 2022 for the energy of Pisces. Okay. Now, firstly, there's a square here that is indicative of looking within a block from the inner self. Okay. Now, with Neptune being squared to Mercury in the fourth house, okay, and Mercury being in Gemini, there's a split dichotomy, a bipolarism that is very strongly elicited when it comes to looking into the inner world or anything that has to do with the qualms of motherhood or home, a sense of domicile. With this, there's an ability to address the multiplicity of homes or the idea of the domesticity, okay? Trying to find essentially a place between two places, between two different spaces, okay? The idea here is to cut through that bullshit and look through the binary in order to see and find lessons of Pluto in retrograde in the 11th house for Pisces in Capricorn, okay? With this, there is a hidden type of information or perhaps a karmic account that has to do with the collective that is certainly putting stress upon your own sense to identify with Neptune in retrograde, the dream world, latent dreams or latent visions of some sort of progress for humanity in general. And this is the qualm. So you have to look to the 11th house, look to the energy of Capricorn in retrograde Pluto, okay? And to find a sense that things are gradually coming to the change. As well, with Neptune being in retrograde, there's a strong, deep spiritual aspect here that needs to be understood. It is directly affecting the physical body as well as the subtle forces of anything that is energetic for Pisces ascendants especially. Once again, this is Ron from Tarot of the Twin Sun. We shall be doing a 9-card spread known as the Great Mirror. As well, looking into the karmic account with a smaller reading before that. But I'll pull the 9 cards for now. Word of advice: if that last part resonated for you, look to the mother. Look to your mother, whether she's around or if she's not. Look to that because with the solar energy and Lilith conjunction in Cancer, there's an activation here. I'm not sure how many houses it would be. Probably 5 houses away from where Pisces is. But the idea here would be to look into the mother or issues of motherhood. Okay. One thing needs to be said: if there's an element of truth that you're seeking out in terms of your own path, there's a sense that you can find it within either a tribe or a family of some sort of collective. Okay, This has to do with the Queen of Pentacles, a sense that there's instability in a situation that is directly related to Taurus, that activates your third house. There needs to be a voice of truth, something like that. Because I think the undertone here with the Ace of Swords in reverse is that there's a great deal of either misconception or deception to varying degrees, and it could, it could be different for each Pisces or each placement of Pisces. But what I'm seeing here is that there can be some form of realization that comes through the familiar, okay? Things that we can hold, things that we can deal with, things that we can play with, okay? And this has to do with collectives. This has to do also with the Six of Swords in the reverse, okay? Usually this indicates, it indicates departure, but it's not the kind where you would escape to a foreign distant land. It has to do with projection into collectives, projection into new forms of culture, okay, or perhaps even old forms of culture. Like really observing from a stabilized point of view how things are idealized or how things are a commodity within cultures of the old or cultures of the new, how they can be sort of not only projected but understood through malleability or play, okay? You may be dealing with a situation here where the Ace of Swords is very strongly indicated, it's very strongly influencing the mind. Usually the Ace of Swords, it has to do with the triplicity of air and the finer things of the 3rd, 7th, and the 11th houses, okay? The thing is that you've already got the Ace of Swords twice in reverse, meaning that the crown of creation is denied. There's something about the communication in general that is befuddling. Okay? It's as if there's a huge Mercury retrograde that is constantly difficult to understand. If you look at the triplicity of Earth, it would be the opposites of each of the signs. Gemini, it would be Sagittarius, it would be all the fire signs. It would be Gemini would be opposite. That's the 9th house. Sagittarius, okay. Libra, that's the opposite, would be Aries, okay. And Sagittarius would be opposite. It would be Gemini, but then also there's a possibility of Leo, which is the opposite, the 11th house, okay. That's Aquarius. And with all this, okay, attention or a sort of fire, a need to find fire, a need to find the source of innovation, the source of all creation, the first creative, thing that has been given to man, on a primordial level. The first invention, the mother of invention, the crown of creation is fire. And with this sort of, there's like a friction here that it's like it's not found. It's like you can direct any thought or question, any line or design of thinking towards a stigma, towards a locus of thought, and it wouldn't create the friction that you would find to find the spark of creation, okay? And this is all pointing towards Libra's energy. You're dealing with someone here that is moving from the elevation of Libra, Venus, elevation of Venus, rising Venus, to the fall of Venus within Taurus, okay? And it's the Empress in reverse. So there's something here about not being able to penetrate, not being able to find a sense of creation with another. And this is creating a great deal of solitude and disconnect in some sort of way. Some sort of falling out has occurred. It doesn't have to be so for everyone, but that's what I'm seeing within the cards. Because of such, there is almost a perfect contentment within this. An element of desire, also a monstrosity that you may be dealing with another, that is coming up to provide a sense that things cannot be contributed to, but then the desire here is still strong, and perhaps you don't want to let go of that desire. There's a fire within you that is unreciprocated in some sort of way. There also is here the 9 as well as the Ace of Cups, the 11, the 2 of Cups, and the 8 of Cups. This type of connection represents the the sort of dedication to the challenge, okay, of bringing forward something that is dry, it's structural, it's something that can be sort of attended to in terms of commitments or the desire to create and sustain type of commitment. Okay, this represents family, unconditionality, um, unconditional love, if you will. At the same time, there's something about this that speaks about a changeable table, a foldable table, something that folds, that can be transported from place to place in order to provide a commodity. Okay. It also speaks of cities, but then these cities being dissolved throughout time, uh, becoming invisible throughout time. So esoterically, I see here, excuse me, something that cannot be tended to, something that requires a great deal of solitude and contemplation to find out what's going on here. When Venus is in detriment, when she's a falling star, it's not very good on the conscious level. Okay, for essentially this requires way too much reflection for to really understand the dynamo. But the Queen of Pentacles is not happy. At least that's what I see. There's a disorder about this. Embrace the chaos, I would say. I mean, this is sounding extremely destructive. Uh, um, Something of a toxic connection. And the idea here is to find a sense of reflection by not offering or giving any corrosive cups or anything that have to do with like false grails or false chalices. Do not offer those. Do not take them, okay? Because it would poison the soul. Um, Not exactly the brightest of readings, but this is what I see for Pisces. Okay, bye bye.